Hello, 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 hello. Can you just put it down a touch, please? All right, let me know if you can hear me. What is going on, guys? What is going on? I just want to check if my headphones and camera are working. Give me one sec. Audio, Microsoft. All right. Can you guys hear me now? What is going on? All right. So what I'm going to do is going to put the link straight in. Give me one sec. All right. So here's the link. So if you want to join, have a chat, jump onto that link. That'll be great, and we can chat everything about the Pies. What is going on? It's been a while since we've done a live fan cams or stream or whatever you want to call it. It's been about 2 months or so. I want to start doing this more regularly when I have the time. It'll probably be on Wednesdays, around this time on Wednesdays, maybe every fortnight or so. But yeah, it's been a crazy season so far. It has been an exciting season. It has been a amazing season, and look, we're 11 and 2, second on the ladder because Port have got obviously a game in hand on us. We play Adelaide on Sunday, and we may as well just get to start chatting with some fans. Matt, give me the thumbs up when you're ready to go. Beautiful. All right, let's get the first fan on. How you going, Matt?
I'm all right. Yourself?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Tell me, how have you found the season so far?
Well, I feel like that's a bit of a boring question. True, like nothing against you, but I think you know where we all are. We're 11 and 2. We're pretty much on top of the table. We've got a game in hand on Port. We are loving life as fans right now.
Yeah.
There's not much going wrong. Like we're sitting pretty. Howie will be back. Probably not this week. Let's be honest. He's probably going to come back via the twos.
Jeremy
But
Howe.
yeah, I reckon he'll come back
Do you think
via
he's
the
gonna?
twos.
Do you actually think he's gonna come via VFL?
I reckon if we put ourselves in Flyers' position or the selectors' position, we're in finals. Like I think even if we lose every game from here, we'll probably still play. I'm not saying
Yep.
let's lose every game to test that theory. Let's not do that.
Yep. Yep.
But I feel like where we sit, it's sort of an unnecessary risk to say, "Hey, we're gonna chuck you straight back in this week."
Yep. Yeah,
Like
but
you
it's
got
not.
Murph
It's not a
playing so
risk. It's
well.
not a risk though. It's not a risk though, is it?
I
He's medically been cleared. He's cleared. Every single test he's passed. He's getting tackled by Bo McCreary. He's doing tackling. He's done match sim for 3 weeks. It's not like in the VFL he's going to have less of a chance to re-break his arm. They still go pretty hard in the VFL.
Yeah, probably risk is the wrong word to use, but even just to build up sort of that match fitness, like as a defender in that Collingwood defensive 50, he won't be doing much tackling or running anyway, but he's had long periods out of the game. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably just worthwhile to slowly build him up back to that fitness. No, not going against what Wade he's done because he's probably done everything right anyway.
Yep.
But like I don't, and I think the interesting position now is we're heading into a very good spot. Like you look at it where it's going to be a fun couple of weeks from the selection
Definitely.
point of view. There is going to be a massive squeeze on now. Like you talk about McRae, Bianco, Carmichael, Markov will be smacking the door now, and Kruger's come to life and hopefully can keep his
Yep.
body right. It is going to be a fun couple of weeks on that front.
So, what are your thoughts on the Adelaide game coming up then?
I what are we staring at possible changes wise?
Yeah. So we got Howe back, Elliott back, ready to go. Kruger has been dominating in the VFL. and Ginnivan most likely.
Okay, well, I'll put this one to the fans. Johnson back or Johnson to stay another week despite probably being dominated on Queen's birthday and now having that week off to refresh?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you give Kruger that next chance
Yeah,
despite knowing what he can produce with his body versus what he can produce on the field?
Yeah, that is an interesting question because Kruger Johnson he's done everything right. He does go quiet a little bit in certain games, and that's fair enough. That sort of happens. We were calling out for a huge forward last week. Kruger got subbed out, as we know. Brought in Markov for a little bit of that speed and explosiveness that we needed. Brought in Markov. And then
Markov, Jono. Damn it.
So so Kruger, I think, as a big key forward, if McStay's out, I think this is his last roll of the dice, to be honest. Because he played that Essendon game. He played a quarter and a half or 2 quarters before he got subbed out with another. I think he hit his knee and he did something. Was it his rib or he had another injury?
The Adelaide game.
Yeah. You're right. And I think this is probably his best time because once McStay's in that team, McStay's not coming out for anyone.
Well, I'll leave that question to the fans. The Kruger Johnson sort of thing this week. I've been thinking about this the last few days, and I'll ask you as well in your opinion. Because Kruger's probably sitting in sort of a similar position, not exactly the same as what Darcy and Elliott were sitting in a couple of years ago with the sidelines and the injuries. I know Kruger hasn't been that soft tissues with the hamstring and the calves.
Yep.
Do we look at sending him to Germany to the Bayern Munich doctor about the shoulder?
Yeah, I really don't know how that's doctor well. I think he's just a hamstring specialist, isn't he? Because that's why Darcy Moore and Jamie Elliott went over there to fix their hamstrings. So maybe it's something that we look at. But by all reports, his shoulder's holding up fine. Like I said, he's kicked 7 goals in the last 2 weeks of the VFL, taking big marks, doing crashing packs. But again, we're not going to really know until he gets into the rigors of AFL and sort of see what that looks like.
True. As for other selections, I'd probably have to. Elliot, I think we'll all be watching Collingwood training tomorrow very closely, given we still didn't.
Oh, lost you, Matt. All right, we're gonna leave Matt there. Maybe get him on a bit later. But that is an interesting question about McStay, Kruger, Johnson. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who we should be sort of bringing in? What's going on around there as well? Who do you think? Do you want Kruger back in? McStay? What are your thoughts? Let me know. And we're gonna get someone else on. Velociraptor. Are you ready to go? Give me a thumbs up. I can't see your camera, but give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go. All right. We'll wait for Velociraptor. Manny, fan favorite Manny. Are you ready to go, mate? Let's fucking go.
What's up, brother? Yes, buddy. How are you, mate?
Good, brother. Yourself?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, all good. Yeah, all good.
What's happening, bro?
Not much, mate. Just gearing up for Sunday. How you feeling about it?
Yeah, mate. Confident. We get them on the MCG. The wide expanses of the MCG will give it to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How have you? Tell me what your feelings are for this season. 11-2. We lost that last game to Melbourne by 4 points. How you feeling?
I'm feeling. Police. I left a message on your YouTube before. I reckon ever since Cameron's come in, our centre bounce work's gone downhill. Yeah. Right? When we had Cox, we had Cox in there by himself, right? We were dynamic as a midfield, right? Cox, that Cameron, I don't know, for some reason it's like he's slow or he's soft, and what he does, he grabs the ball out of the middle, and you know what he does? He puts it on the boot and he kicks it to another player.
Yeah. I have noticed that. Like even David King when I had David King on. He said the same thing. The last 6 weeks,
Yeah.
our clearance work has been down. Our between the arcs have been really poor. Just sort of on the bit of a decline. And we have been the best clearance team this season. What do you think needs to change?
I reckon they take Cameron out of the ruck.
Yep.
Or give Cameron less time in the ruck and put Cox back in, because Cox gets the tap outs. You know what he does? He bangs it forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and then our mids run onto the ball. Right. Once our mids run onto the ball, our forwards they spread. Right, and then they get easy kicks. Last week we were bombing the ball in, and also Cameron, if he gets the ball in the back, instead of handballing the ball, I saw 4 or 5 times Nick Dacos ran around. Right. Handball the ball to Nick, mate. What are you doing? What's he doing kicking the ball? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Cameron's let himself down the last few weeks. I don't know whether they give Cox more time in the ruck, right? Plus, when Cameron takes marks in the forward line, right? Every time he's got the ball, 15, 20 minutes out, I know he's going to miss.
To Cameron's credit, though, like to Cameron's credit, he is he can take a good mark. He's a really good contested mark. When he floats down back, you're sort of assured that he's going to mark the ball or high up on the wing. I wouldn't put too much money on him kicking for goal. That's for sure. But he does provide that target. But I don't think. Do you think that if and when McStay comes back in, we can kind of play all of those tools, or do we see Johnson drop out, or do we see, a Cox or a Cameron drop out?
Put it this way, because we haven't seen enough of McStay yet. We haven't seen enough of him. We only seen how many games? Well, how many games did we see? 2 games of him?
Yeah, maybe 3, but that's about it. Yeah.
I reckon we give McStay another run. Another run, try to get him cherry ripe for the finals. We need a big body. We need a big body in the
100%,
in the forward line.
100%.
Because
that's what we missed.
Johnson's good, but you know what Johnson does? He doesn't chase enough.
Okay.
He's a little bit slow. Also with Ginnivan's crafty, but when you watch him chase, right? You always watch Bo McCreary and Jamie Elliott and Bobby Hill, right? They always shoot past him. He's crafty, right? He grabs the ball off the ground and stuff. But when it comes to chasing and putting on pressure, right? He's a bit slow. So I don't know whether you leave Harrison in there or you bring Ginny back in. But even Harrison is kicking 1 goal a game. But if Ginny lights up, he can bang on 4 or 5 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's been the biggest knock on Ginnivan for quite some time now, where he just has to work on that. He has everything else. It's just that defensive craft that he has to work on.
He's not clear.
And having that not being able to get that match sim and missing all those games.
I just don't think he's quick enough. He hasn't got the speed. That's all. He tries, but he hasn't got the speed. Because if you saw the West Coast game, right, he was trying to get the handball off Nick Dacos, and Nick Dacos went whoop straight past him. Remember that goal? Also, geez, we're missing. Last week, did we miss Jordan DeGoey?
Yeah, that's what someone said here. Joel said that we were awful out the middle last week. Right?
He's out.
Everyone. Yeah,
he's our kicker. As soon as he gets the ball, if you watch him, right, he kicks the ball into the forward line, onto the lead, onto the angles, into the pockets. Yep. When you watch Geordie play, he's our best kick in the team, right? As soon as you give him the ball, he finds targets like there's no tomorrow. But anyway, we're 11-2, brother. We're laughing. You know what? We're going to make sure. We need to make sure. This is what's bothering me. We need to finish minimum top of the table or second. We don't want to. We don't want to go into state like last year for a final. We want 2 home finals. If we get 2 home finals, it's party time.
1,000%. The last thing I want to fucking do is end up at the Gabba.
Gabba, or we don't want to end up, or we don't want to end up in Port Adelaide. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Manny, thank you so much for coming on, mate. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, bro.
Tell me.
You know how good it's been. You know how good it's been watching Carlton right? Cop an absolute rapage. All right, bro. Take it easy, brother.
Thanks, mate.
See you, bro.
See you, mate.
See you,
See you,
bro.
mate.
Bye. See
Bye.
you, mate. Bye.
All right, Darren, thumbs up if you're ready to go, mate. You're next in line. Beautiful. Daz.
How's it going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
There we go. Yeah, just see if we got the camera up. And yeah, sweet. And just watching it on my TV at the same time. Good as. Sweet, yeah.
All good, mate.
Love your work, buddy. I'm wearing one of your shirts right now, the Guinea.
Oh, the old Carlton celebration.
Yeah, what about four of them?
No, thank you for the support, brother. This is remind me, is this your first time on cams? I think it might be.
First time on cams, but I'm watching almost every vid, like every post, love your work. But yeah, I thought I'd come on. I was like, oh, see how it goes. Bit nervous.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Got a new one. Tell me, what are your thoughts, man? What are you thinking about the Pies?
So I'm always nervous every week as a Collingwood supporter. You know that, like, never feel safe at all. But very happy where we are. I feel like we haven't been this consistent since 2011. Like, if you look at our percentage, it's high 130s. And if you look at our wins, like, we haven't really, like, we started to blow teams away this year, like the Port game, the Giants game, the West Coast game. When the last 4 or 5 years, we haven't really blown teams away, which is a good thing. And then if you also look at Fly as well, was it either this year or the year the last year? He said he was happy winning these close games, but he would rather win by about 4 or 5 goals. And most of our games this year have been around 4 or 5 goal margins.
Well, there you go. He's practicing what he preaches. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, we definitely are qualifying a little bit more than just sort of scraping by, and we'll still have those close games, and some will go away, some won't. We've seen the Melbourne game, the Adelaide game. But if we can start putting these teams to the sword, like you said, like we did put Adelaide second round, the Giants, and these sort of teams that are below us, I think it'll go a long way. 133%, I think, is definitely the highest we've had in a few years. And you talked about consistency. 2011, besides, let's not talk about finals, but the home and away season, fantastic, right?
100%.
That was just, it was, and this season is kind of giving me those home and away 2011 sort of vibes where we know what we can do, but it's just about seeing us sort of produce that.
Exactly. And I love how you said that we're on like a trajectory. Like, as you said, we're building because we don't want to peak too early. Like, we're peaking, which is fantastic now. But as long as we keep just building, like Fly says, like, there's no such thing as perfect footy. Like, he doesn't believe in the word perfect. You just keep building and growing each game or every day.
No, I agree. And that's exactly right. Like, I remember, rounds 2 or 3, David King came out and said, are we playing too good too early? And, I guess at the time it was a question that should have been, that was getting asked, but you kind of see that we're not even, like you said, we're not even playing good. We're still probably playing to 75% of what we're capable of. The good football that we were playing, if you think back to last year, were those first 2 weeks of finals.
100%.
Well, the Geelong game was probably our best game for the last couple of years.
100%.
We end up
like just the pressure in everything.
Yeah, no, exactly right. That was, high tackling, goals. We were up by quite a lot. And then on the flip side, that Sydney game, we were still, the first half wasn't that good, but then the second half, we were back to that Collingwood from the first week of finals. And then obviously Fremantle, we absolutely blitzed them. And those 2 weeks, really good football. If we can start playing that football in rounds, 20, 21, 22, we'll be absolutely laughing.
Exactly right. And one thing I love as well, is like every Collingwood supporter would love, is that we just never give in regardless. Like, we play the minutes to the very end. Like, just never giving up. Like, it just makes us feel proud, just knowing that, like, it could, like, we're just going to keep coming. We're going to keep coming. Even if we don't play our best, like against Melbourne.
No, 110%. And I said this, I don't know where I said it or who I said it to, but when we see, I was watching one of the other games and one of the teams was down by like a couple of goals and their fans started leaving and I was like, fuck, like, and there was like 4 or 5 minutes left. Like, I could not imagine leaving. I don't leave Collingwood games anyway, even if we're getting belted, but I couldn't imagine leaving when we're only 2.5 goals up. Even if we're 4 goals down, like we saw against Melbourne, and there's 5 minutes left, that we're going to fight to the death.
100%. And you get that same feeling again, because once we get, the one thing that matters, I think, with us, and it didn't really happen in the Melbourne game, is our crowd. our crowd lifts
Yep.
us, and we didn't really have that Collingwood chant going until the last 30 seconds.
Yeah,
The thing is, we just
too
needed
little, too late.
exactly because we just build on like just the momentum, and our crowd just
Yep.
gets the boys into it. But if you look at it as well, like in hindsight, we played Melbourne. We lost to them by 4 points. We had no Ginnivan, no DeGoey, which was a big out, no side bottom. Who else we had? But a lot of our best players out.
Yeah. Yep.
We just still only lost by 4 points, and we still got all these
Exactly
players
right.
coming back in.
Exactly right. It's kind of like what NATO said over here. So it's a scary prospect when we have all these these players sort of coming back, and possibly Jeremy Howe coming back this week, Jamie Elliott coming back. Hopefully this
Elliott,
week.
he was a big out.
That was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to improve on, and the second half of the season is going to be absolutely incredible. Before I get someone else on, Darren, what's been your moment of the season?
I think it has to be Anzac Day and Nicky Dacos, those 2 goals. I think kicking 7 goals straight and just having that traditional Dacos magic to get us over the line with that second one was insane. If you think about it, it was the inside out, like half a second reaction time. I think they put us in front at that time.
Yes,
insane.
yeah, I think it was it. Yeah. No, it was. God, he's so good. He's so good. Darren, thank you so much for jumping on, brother. I appreciate it. I hope to see you on more of these things, mate.
Will do. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother. See you, mate. Bye. All right. Sweet. Cool. All right. Awesome. Let's Andreas, thumbs up if you're ready to go, man. Beautiful. All right. I've got another first time on fan cams. How you going, bud?
Good, mate. How are you? Can you hear me all good?
Yeah, all good. All good, man.
Sweet
all
as,
good.
sweet as. Love you. Love your streams and stuff, mate. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for doing that every week. It's
no worries.
Sort of part of my nightly routine. Whenever I see the alert pop up on YouTube, I'm like, all right, I'll watch that tonight. Love the interview. I love the interview with Kingy. That was really good. I've noticed the last couple of years, Kingy's like analysis of the games and stuff have been really spot on, and we've had times where I haven't agreed with him 100%, but it's actually been pretty good. And that sit down you did with him was really good, and it's good to see a really good insight from a supporter, but also from a elite sort of journalist and stuff like that, I suppose.
You
guys like bouncing off each other sort of thing, and it was good. Just a couple of things I just want to quickly talk about. I actually really don't mind the work that Darcy Cameron's been able to do with us this season. Like, even though he's been out for a fair bit, I do think he is this season compared to last season, compared to before he got injured against Richmond. I really think that he has come back a little bit slower, but his impact and his responsibility and his role play, I think is what we were really missing, even when we were winning, especially with McStay out. I think that Mason Cox is terribly underrated, especially for a role player, and I felt as if this season, especially, like, it seems like when he's playing for a contract, it brings out the best in him, which is really good. But yeah, like, I don't know about you, but that loss against Melbourne was probably the first loss that we've had. It is the first loss we've had in a while, but it was the first loss that I've witnessed in a few seasons where I walked away and I wasn't even upset. Like, I wasn't even like, oh man, like we needed to win that, or there was a real deflating feeling. It was probably a little bit deflating towards the end because we so close right at the end.
Yes.
And you think if you had played like that with a minute more to go or a minute earlier, we probably would have ran away with it, especially when the Melbourne supporters were waving goodbye to everybody. And I'm like, I'm still here. I'm not leaving yet. Watch what happens. And then we almost pinched it. And we lost, and we still scored more goals than them. And we didn't play our best football at all. Like we said, like you were saying before, we had so many players out. And that was the best game that Melbourne played all season. In 2018, 100%. I'll give you a little bit of an insight. In 2018, Richmond went on a massive winning streak, right? And from like mid-season all the way to the finals, I don't even think they lost the game. I think, I could be wrong, but I think there was a game right towards the end of the season they played against the Bulldogs, and they just won. I think the Bulldogs hit the post like with a couple of seconds to go or whatever. So I'm pretty sure it was against the Doggies. I can't remember. Okay. And Richmond needed a loss, right? And they hadn't had one. And they went into finals and they bottled it against us. And we were just prime ready for them. Big deal, right?
We were, yeah. Yep.
But I think this year, If you look since the Carlton game, right, we've been playing barely at 75%. Like there's been patches where we've been really, really good. Like we sort of had that patch against West Coast where we got away at the end, and it was really like we looked a class above everybody else. But I think that if we can get through this period where we haven't been playing the best and we only drop one game, I'm not even worried about Bulldogs at Marvel. We usually lose to Bulldogs at Marvel anyway. But I'm not too fussed. The Brisbane game at Marvel, I'm not even stressed about that. But it's the games in between. If we can get those and not even if we win, but we peak towards the end of the season, I don't really see us like losing in Melbourne. And if we can get, like you guys were talking about before, if we can get those home finals in Melbourne, mate, I tell you, I don't think we're beatable at the G with a full side. So it gives you goosebumps and it makes you like excited and stuff. But like I think Bulldogs at Marvel, whatever. Port Adelaide away, they're playing really good. If we can win that, we solidify ourselves as definitely the best team in the comp. But with that to Brisbane towards the end of the season, I mean, 2010 we lost to Hawthorn in the last game of the season. Josh Fraser's 200. You know what I mean?
Yes,
so
we did.
And then we still dominated the Bulldogs next week, dominated Geelong, and then the rest is history. I want to ask you a question though, because you said it before. What is your best moment so far this season? What was the one moment where you're like, oh, this is grouse?
The one. Oh, now I'm put on. I usually ask the questions. Shit. The one moment. Look, I honestly think the one moment off the top of my head right now is that last Adelaide game. We were down for the count. We had Billy Frampton rucking. We were down by goals, right? We were down by goals, and to pinch back the win after backs against the wall. No Cameron, no Cox, and no ruckman. Johnson and Frampton in the ruck. Noble having to kick that goal from 50 out when it just happened to fall into his lap. I think that just shows not only the determination of this team to win, but also the resilience, and it just. It solidifies the fact that we say it all the time. We played the minutes, we played right to the end, but this was right up until the end, and then it's just. I think it was probably and then of course you got the Essendon game where we were down by a lot. Yeah, but that Adelaide game, especially being away in Adelaide, I think that to me that meant the most.
Yeah, and it was good to see Hosky actually hit a target on the run when he hit Sidey.
Yes.
To get a thing. I was like, when he got the ball, it's like when Adams gets it and you're running like, oh, bro, just hit a target, please.
Please.
You find yourself in the best spots, but just your disposal, geez, you always start shooting yourself a bit. Mine personally, the you got moments like, the Adelaide game, the Essendon game, and little highlights through and through. That goal that Nick Dacos scored against Port Adelaide, where Pendle sort of hand passed it over his head.
Oh, right, yeah.
That one there, for some reason, like I couldn't go to that game because I was playing footy that day, but I ended up finishing the game and watching it on TV right as I got home. And I got there 2 minutes before that goal, and when I saw the Collingwood cheer squad and the Ponsford stand go up, for some reason I got like, I don't know why, but Nick Dacos is a better player, but I got like Ryan Loney vibes running against Melbourne when he kicks it, like from doing it, like running the whole length of the ground, and you just saw the Ponsford stand like go up. I was just like, man, this is nostalgia. Look at this, and it's like a guy that's just started playing with us. So
yeah,
I know what you feel. I think that was a really good moment. And I don't know, it was like the Master and the Apprentice, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like I got,
yes.
And we've had that throughout the season with them two like linking up. So hopefully Pendle's 2-3 more seasons, but I'll probably say 2 more, try and get him to the 400, but barring any sort of injury. But that was probably the moment for me where I was like, geez, we're on here, and it carried on. The only time we've been exposed this season, mate, is against Brisbane at the Gabba, and almost every side gets exposed there. I was really disappointed for Isaac Quainer that day, because Charlie Cameron sort of took the piss a little bit, and Isaac's a lot better than that. And I could be wrong, but I think at this moment in time, I know it was like this against Carlton, but I think he's only lost 4 one-on-one contests all year.
Yeah, he's been absolutely incredible. I love the way Quaynor goes about it, putting the time in the gym and everything that we saw in the preseason, and then to do what he does, as that sort of small back, but to be able to run and carry as well.
Yeah,
he's just an incredible addition, and hopefully, fingers crossed, his brothers are just as good as him, and we get to pick them up in the next couple of drafts.
How jacked is he? But he looks like that preseason when he was. I was like, dude, this guy looks like an NFL wide receiver. Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, no, and like. Even Darcy Cameron, I posted it up where he was getting interviewed by Triple M.
Oh, Triple M,
and he goes, and he's like, what did he say? Like, he goes, Quaynor was like so hot or something like that.
He said he's like, he's got a good rig too. And then Daisy Thomas was looking at him like, what did you just say? And then he's like, I don't know why I just said that. And everyone just starts laughing.
Oh, man, it's so good. Andreas, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Love your work, mate. Keep it up.
Thank you, mate. I'll talk to you soon.
Nice.
Cheers, brother.
Thanks, bye. Catch you. Bye.
All right. This has been fun. We should do this more often. Who runs this bloody channel? We should definitely do this more often. All right, let me just go through comments quickly before I get Velociraptor on, because I can see his face now. Let's see. Oh, we got someone trolling. That's fine. Losing grand finals. That's how it works. People, there has to be a loser, right? And unfortunately, we've been the loser 27 times. That hot gamer says, if we have to play Brisbane at the Gabba in the finals, we might not be winning the premiership, but I could be wrong. I don't know about not winning the premiership, but I do reckon that Brisbane at the Gabba is they're just another beast, and we need Brisbane down at the MCG, you know what I mean? I'd rather be there than winning spoons. Joel Bradley said that's exactly right. I keep saying NATO, but it's NATO, I'm pretty sure. But NATO sounds like that. That's NATO. What is that? It's like the war thing, the NATO alliance. Anyway, says, so true about the Brisbane thing. Only time I've seen us beaten from start to finish. Brisbane just dominated us. And I think we scored the first 2 or 3 goals in that game. And I thought, oh, we're on here. I was watching from a pub in Bali. And I go, oh, we're on. We're doing pretty well. And then Cam Rayner just had this breakout game that he was always bound to have. And we absolutely get done. And Charlie Cameron and fucking, of course, that was the week where their 2 forwards, Danaher and Hipwood, were just getting lambusted by the media. Like, they were just getting hit from pillar to post and had to be against us, and they come out and play like a prime Lockett and Alistair Lynch. Anyway, Velociraptor, thumbs up if you're ready to go, mate. All right, beautiful. I see the thumb up. Let's get it on. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Hey, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the Pies?
Very good this season, actually. I'd say everybody's saying to me that if they have anything less than 2 flags in the next 5 years, then I'd be disappointed with the list that they've got. I was like, that's a big thing. That's a big thing to claim.
It is. 2 flags in 5 years would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, getting from.
What are your thoughts on how the season's gone? How do you see it?
Very good. I still get nervous going into every game. As to quote the legendary Ayrton Senna, the moment you are seen as the best, the fastest, and somebody that cannot be touched, you are enormously fragile. And we're always vulnerable. That's
we are. Yep.
Yeah, I comment it quite a lot. I comment it quite a fair bit. We're all, every team at the top is vulnerable because every team below them is targeting them. Well,
that's it. That they want to hunt the hunter pretty much. They want to knock off the top of the team, and I've found as a Collingwood supporter, every single team, and you can even a couple of weeks ago against West Coast, Adelaide beat them by 122 points. We go over there and they're within 9 points because it's like, we're a shit team, but we need to try and prove that we can knock off the best team in the league. So it's a very, it just comes with the territory, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was like I heard looking on Jen's Twitter today that Jack Ginnivan has been training with the ones, not the ones, the twos, the reserves.
Interesting.
And
interesting. I wouldn't mind him. Yeah, getting a. He like I said to Manny, he definitely does need to work on his. I love him, but he needs to work on his defensive craft.
Yeah, his offensive craft does a lot of the talking.
Does, yeah.
There's like, and he's a golden opportunist as well.
Yep.
Which is why he's so dangerous in front of goals.
Yeah, no, I agree. Look, tell me, what has been your, since everyone's asking, what's been your moment of the season?
My moment of the season, Oh yeah, the Darcy Moore tackle on Oliver Henry.
Yep, that was. Oh my God, Were you at that game?
I was.
I have not heard the crowd louder than that in a very, very long time. And look, Ollie Henry left for reasons we won't get into it, but that tackle was just incredible.
Yeah, and I was watching the game, that game live at the time. It brought me back to Heath Shaw memories, if you remember that one.
The Heath Shaw smother?
Yes.
If I remember that one, yeah, I'll have to dig back into the memory log, but I definitely do remember that one. That was loud. That was loud and a good one as well. Tell me, who's been your player of the season so far?
Nick,
yeah.
Followed by DeGoey and Moore, I'd say.
Yeah, how have you seen Moore as a captain this year?
Quality leader.
Yep.
Like he knows his game, and as a leader, and he knows what game he wants to execute, and he knows what game he wants everyone else to execute.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. And he seems like the type. Look, everyone says he's sort of that new age sort of player and the new age captain, and he seems to have this sort of obviously a different leadership to Pendlebury, and you can kind of see that on the field as well.
Yeah, he certainly does. He takes the game on to a tremendous extent. Not that Pendlebury didn't.
Yeah, yep.
Pendlebury, with his sharp decision making, is the perfect. He's got the perfect. Pendlebury's got really good, the right skills to take the game on with all the skills that he possesses.
Yep. No, I agree. Look, before we leave you, Velociraptor, I love that name. Where do you, or how many? What is it? It's round 15. By the end of round 24, where are we on the ladder?
I'll be disappointed if we fall anywhere lower than second.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we are two games clear of second, so I don't see us dropping more than 2 or 3 games anyway. So we just got to keep winning. Thank you so much for jumping on. I'm sure we'll talk soon, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, bud. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. So I just noticed that I can also do polls, which is really cool. That's fun because I use StreamYard, and StreamYard doesn't give me the options that YouTube gives me, but now I've got YouTube up on my second screen, and I can see polls and stuff. So that's very bloody nice. Anyway, all right. Joel, thumbs up. You got a nice little setup there, mate. All right, too easy. Let's get in there. How you going, brother?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. I love your setup. You got the orange amp. You're a bit of a musician, mate.
Yeah, I'm a little bit. This is the office. I work from home, so it's a pretty good setup.
Oh, nice. So you a music producer or just a musician or?
No, I was uni. Like I studied audio engineering through uni, but I just work in IT now, so I'm just a geek.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. Tell me, mate, what do you want to come on and chat about?
I just wanted to jump on and look. I'm not going to say anything like revolutionary, but I just wanted to give a bit of a shout out to some of the I'm a big proponent of your bottom 10 to 20% of players is what makes your team consistent and what actually brings your team success. I think there's a fair few players that we've had for a long time that some of them have tended to cop a bit of flack over the journey, but I reckon they're actually putting together really good seasons. And one was spoken about a little bit earlier today being someone like a Will Hoskin-Elliott, right? Like he's a bit polarizing in the fan base. A lot of people like to get stuck into him. He makes mistakes. I'm not going to say he doesn't make mistakes, but I think your people like your Hoskin-Elliott, your people like your Markov that come in and they're that 18th to 22nd player, 23rd player now on your list that slot in. I think that's a big reason why we've been so consistent this year, because it's not down to the 4, 5, 6 big dogs that we have running through the middle to carry the team. If someone has an off night, someone chips in, steps up, and takes over.
No, that's exactly right. And we've seen, a lot of teams, like you're saying, the 20% down the bottom, or as the saying sort of goes, your bottom 6 determines a lot of what your team. And we see teams all the time where they've got a lot of top end talent, but it's those role players that they don't have, and they just can't take it to the next level. And Fly's mantra of next person in. We lost Murphy through that concussion. And it was next person in, and it was Trey Rusco for a couple of weeks. Did his job, and I like Trey. Previously I would have probably have trusted him to do that Nathan Murphy role, but he comes in on the biggest stage on Anzac Day and has a game and a half, right? And then I'm pretty sure he played against Adelaide as well the next week. But that Anzac Day game had a game and a half for a player that isn't called up to the seniors all the time. He was just called up when he needed to. We need you to play that Nathan Murphy role. Bang, he does it. Billy Franson, we need you to play that ruck role. Bang, he does it. Will Hoskin-Elliott, bang. Markov. But it's all these players, and you're right. It does say a lot about the team itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I think you've hit on a key point there. It's the role changes. I think we're probably a team that have the most amount of players that swap role almost on a weekly basis, right? Like even just look through the middle of the season when we had those ruck issues. It's Ash Johnson moving into the ruck, which none of us would have ever picked. But then the flow on from that is you've got Will Hoskin-Elliott having to play as a key forward. And the bloke's like 182 centimeters and built like a Q-tip. So the fact that he's able to pull that off is huge, right? So I'm a huge fan of Billy Frampton. He's kind of tailed off a little bit after the injury, which is fair enough. He's still super inexperienced. I just wanted to give a shout out because I think we often talk about those big dogs, your Dacos's, your Mitchells, and all that, which obviously you need them to compete. But I think if you compare our 22 that play each week against other teams that are highly talented, like and Melbourne or a Geelong or even Richmond, put them in the category. I think it's the fact that our bottom 5, bottom 6 players are better than their bottom 5, bottom 6, and that's why we have been doing better than them as a whole over the season. Also considering the fact that we had a pretty tricky first 10 weeks compared to some of those teams as well, and we still came out positive.
No, 100%. And thank you so much for coming on and saying that. You're right. We do talk about the big dogs, Pendles, Dacos and stuff. And these guys, other guys, not fall by the wayside, but they don't get mentioned as much in the big articles and when you're doing the write-ups on Fox Footy and stuff like that or whatever it may be. So it's nice for them to get a shout-out like that. And, like you said, everyone is going to make mistakes, right? Will Hoskin-Elliott missed that goal from right in front, but then he made up for it. So I'm a big proponent of, and I used to do this all the time where it would just be, this player, this X, Y, Z, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so angry and how you dare you? And it's just like, we missed one opportunity. Like I remember that Braden Maynard where he kicked it, well, I think it was the Essendon game. He kicked it out from fullback and it got turned over the top. And they were laughing about it. If us as supporters, and this for football wide, can sort of have that same positivity in a negative situation, I think it'll go far. But Joel, thank you so much for jumping on and saying that, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, brother. Have a good one. All right, Kev, you ready to go, mate? All right. Let me just quickly say, so Swift jerseys have sold out online as well. I'm pretty sure they've sold out from the Collingwood store as well. I saw someone say on Facebook. They probably have some on Sunday, you would think. So get down there. But again, if you aren't following me on Instagram, you're going to want to, because I am 500 followers away from 20,000, and I'm doing a huge giveaway. So we've got a Swoop jersey to give away, a brand new Swoop jersey to give away, personalized video message from one of the players, a bunch of, I don't have them on me now, a bunch of rare select footy cards. So that includes Anzac Day medalist card, Nick Dacos, NAB Rising Star card, Nick Dacos, bunch of other things, and it's going to be absolutely huge. So if you know any Collingwood supporters that aren't following me on Instagram, make sure you get them to follow me, because this is going to be the biggest Collingwood giveaway, besides Collingwood giving away something, that I've ever seen or been a part of. But anyway, Kev, let's go.
What's going on,
How you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Not much. Tell me, mate, what are your thoughts?
Good season so far. Really impressed. I thought we would lose only just the one game, but I do see us maybe losing 1 or 2 games at least. I'm a little bit nervous about the Port Adelaide game. I think over there might be tough. Brisbane at Marvel will be tough. Bulldogs is definitely a 50-50 game at Marvel as well. So I do see, and I do have us beating Adelaide here, since they can't win at the MCG against the good teams. No always win at home.
So with your sort of 50-50 games going, how do you see us finishing at the end of the year?
I can see us losing to Port Adelaide. That's one. So that would be our 3rd game.
Yep.
Potentially maybe Brisbane.
Okay, so that's 4 losses so far.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But
so
I
you
do
reckon
think
just
we'll
2 more
beat the
games?
Bulldogs. I think
at
50-50 Dogs will beat them.
Yeah, and I think Nato said that the Bulldogs, there's a bunch of injuries as well to the Doggies. But anyway, we'll talk about the Doggies when we verse them. We've got Adelaide this week. You reckon we're going to win against Adelaide?
Yeah, I think we'll beat them. I think 30 points, or even more. I'm pretty sure.
Yep, big win.
Only because as well, when we play Adelaide, we always tend to play well against them, no matter how shit we are or how good we are. They play well at home. It's when they're away, that's when teams got them, like the Gold Coast in the world, like the Richmonds at the MCG. They even lost to a few other teams as well away from home, so they can't win away. But if you played Adelaide in Adelaide, yeah, it's definitely going to be tough. But I do think that we'll definitely beat them here.
Well, I'm looking forward to you going to that game, Kev.
Sure, I am by myself, so yeah, that'll be good.
Hey, I love going to the game by myself as well, mate. I get to at halftime, I don't have to talk to anyone. I can read my book at halftime. I can chill out a little bit. Nice little presence there. Who's been your favourite player this season so far?
Oh, Nick Dacos would be the obvious one, but I really do like Markov. Like, he's really impressed. Will Hoskin-Elliott has impressed as well. Brian McCreary, his tackling pressure is elite as well. Good luck getting past him, especially in a chase down tackle.
Yes, agreed.
But I think AJ, for me, when he's on, he's on. And when he's not, he's not. But I do like the fact when it's a ground ball level, he's able to get onto the ball and either handball it out or kick it. So
yeah, he does have a lot of tricks in his book. Yeah. No, he does have a lot of tricks in his book, and he does have a little bit to improve on and stuff like that. Does go missing a little bit, but I absolutely love AJ and how he goes about it. Kev, thank you so much for jumping on, mate. Got one more person to get on, then we're going to wrap this up. I'll probably see you around on Sunday, mate.
Certainly will. All right, bye, mate.
See you, mate. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. Dingo. Thumbs up if you're ready to go, mate. Too easy. All right. All right. It looks like your mic's on mute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hey man.
Hey, awesome. Can hear. How you going? Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you on here before. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. I've just came. I think I started watching like sometime this year.
Oh, awesome! Thank you so much for joining, man. Tell me, what are your thoughts on the Pies so far this year?
Yeah, I think we're going pretty good. When we lost to Melbourne, I was like, I don't know, it was pretty sad, like all Pies fans. But
yeah.
I remember, I think it was the 26-second mark. I was just praying we get that last second goal, like every time.
I know.
Yeah, even my brother
just wasn't to be, man. Just wasn't to be. Look, how I sort of viewed it and how I said it in my review of that game is, and like what Fly said, if we won that game at the end, we would have stolen that game, right? If we had won that game, it would have really glossed over all of our sort of bad things that we did in that game. So everyone would have been talking about, oh, we won the game and they did it again. But it would have just put a Band-Aid over a bit of a sort of a larger sort of crack in that game. And I think a loss, although, we don't like to lose, and I hate the saying that it's probably a loss that we needed, but I think that in losing, you do learn so much. And that sort of game isn't going to happen again.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
even at the start of the season, I don't remember who said it, but someone said that like we had a lot of close wins last year. This year's not going to be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's they predicted us. It's hard. Like, I don't think close wins are luck. I think there is an element of luck to them, but it takes a lot of like we said, grit, determination. The Adelaide game, the Melbourne game was another close game that just the ball didn't bounce our way. That sort of game. Close games are going to happen. We know how to win them, and we know how to be there. Like Fly says, you have to play every minute.
Yeah.
Who's been your favorite player this season, mate?
To be honest, I always think who's my favorite player, but since I was little, they've all been my favorite. To be honest,
yeah.
But, all I could say is they've all been my favorite because they've all like doing well, and as long as they're just doing their role plays, and that's been helping us all this season and last season.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. It's hard. Sometimes it is hard to pick one when they're also bloody good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, look, Dingo, thank you so much for joining me, mate. We're going to wrap this up in a second, but I appreciate you coming on for the first time. Thank you for just jumping on and having your say, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. Cheers.
No worries, Dingo. Cheers, mate. Yeah. Bye. All right, guys, my ears are getting so hot underneath these things. We're going to wrap it up. We've been doing this for close to an hour. It's a little bit fun. So probably we'll look at doing this every fortnight, on a Wednesday every fortnight around the 7:30 time. So we'll probably go for 45 to an hour. Try and pick up some momentum on this. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you taking this time out of in your evening. Mid-evening to come out and hang out with me for an hour. I appreciate you all. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, do this, do that. I also have memberships on my channel now, which is pretty cool. If you want to support me that way, that'll be amazing, or support the channel that way, that'll be amazing. They all have different tiers, etc. But that'd be cool. But look, guys, love you all. Have a great night. See you guys on Sunday.